congratulations, your loan for £125,000 has just been approved. That was the email that I received back in January 2008, enabling me to hand in my notice at PwC and sign a contract to buy a small accountancy practice near Southampton, Hampshire. A few weeks later, the world went into financial meltdown, the crisis of 2008. I was the guy that was mortgaged to the hilt. I was the guy that was taking a 70% pay cut in earnings. I was the guy that was trading his cozy job at PwC for an unknown adventure to run an accountancy business during the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. People thought I was crazy. But you know what was even crazier? The way I ran that business in the first 5 years. I made every mistake under the sun. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was trading. I was working long hours, thinking I had to trade my time for money. I was undercutting to win work because that's what I thought you had to do. I was micromanaging my team and getting them to complete timesheets because that's what they did at the big firms. Because nobody teaches you how to run an accountancy business when you do your accountancy training. Nobody teaches you how to price your services. Nobody teaches you how to win work. Nobody teaches you how to lead and manage a team. So I ended up just winging it and not getting very far. I was working crazy long hours in the office. It was difficult to win clients. We had high staff turnover, which led to poor client service. One client would come in, two would leave. We were constantly living out of our overdraft. Making payroll and VAT payments was tight. Meanwhile, at home, things were equally crazy. Our house was like a baby factory. We had 4 kids in the space of 5 years. We'd always wanted a big family, take off the school holidays, travel the world, have fun with the kids. And the business was supposed to be the vehicle that enabled us to do that. The reality, however, was far from it. I was working long hours in the office. My wife was raising the kids single-handedly, and it was exhausting. Even when I was home, I wasn't present. My mind was on work. I was living in continuous regret, watching my kids grow, but unable to make lasting memories. Something had to change. And then late one evening, after everyone had gone home, I'm sitting in my office, wading through the barrage of daily emails I'd received, trying to get through them all. I noticed an invitation to a webinar on practice growth, promising to solve all my problems. I had nothing to lose, so I registered, and I attended. And I was glued for 90 minutes. What I learned that day planted the seed that led to the transformation of my results and ultimately my life. Off the back of the webinar, I joined a mentoring program to learn more. I started to implement what I was learning and got results. So I implemented more and got bigger and better results. And within 24 months, I'd gone from struggling, frustrated, chasing clients for invoices of £500 to £1,000 to winning a one-off fee of £135,000 paid in advance and taking our firm to nearly £1 million in revenue with just 7 people. And best of all, doing this whilst working less than 10 hours a week in the practice, so I could spend time with those that I loved. Hi, I'm Reza, and my mission is to help accountants and bookkeepers like you to build more profitable, successful, and impactful accounting firms that gives you the time and money freedom that you deserve. What I learned that day was that there's an alternative to trading time for money. What I learned that day was that I had to invest in myself to be a better business owner so I could do the best for my clients, my team, and ultimately my family. So in the short time that we have here today, I'm going to share with you 3 key insights that led to the transformation of my results and how it can do the same for you. So if you're overwhelmed with everything that you have going on at the moment, then this is for you. If you're struggling and have hit a plateau and frustrated with your progress, then this is for you. Or if you're simply working too hard for too little money, then this is for you. So, are we ready to get started? Just the 3 of you at the front then. Are you ready to get started? Thank you. Fantastic. Let's do this. So over the years, as I've started my journey of now coaching and mentoring other accountants to achieve the same freedoms, I've realized that everything I've done falls into one of these 4 pillars: pricing, people, process, and positioning. And if you can build these solid foundations in your practice, then you too can build and scale your firm to any height that you please to give you the life that you want. It's also conveniently the name of my new book, which launched this week, which you can get a free copy of by completing the slip that you found on your chair and handing it to Adam at the end after the session. So just to give you a glimpse of what is possible. In the 10 years since I acquired the practice from 2008 to 2018, you can see the difference. And for those of you at the back, I'll just call out the figures. I show you this for inspiration, to give you confidence as to what is possible. You can do this too. I am nothing special. I didn't get excellent results in A-levels or in my accountancy training. I simply stood on the shoulders of giants, learned from those that had gone before me, applied what I was learning. When I bought the practice, the turnover was less than £130,000, next to nothing in net profit. 10 years later, after the journey of transformation, we took it to nearly 900,000 with over £600,000 in gross profit. So here are the 3 insights I'm going to share with you so you can do the same. The first one is why the opportunity is now. There's a huge opportunity for us right now to be able to penetrate the market and grow our firms to any size that we please. I'll share with you how you can take advantage. Secondly, we'll talk about what is this big opportunity to earn high 5-digit fees, which most accountants aren't even doing. And thirdly, how can you get higher prices and have better clients wanting to work with you? Let's move on to the first insight of why the opportunity is now. When I first started, I was excited, little happy bunny, going around thinking what I could do to grow my practice. So I tried everything, from telemarketing, to paid ads, to social media, to networking, to mail shots. You know, the old school mail shots you printed out and sent out. I tried everything. And although we got a few clients, we mainly got them because I underpriced to win the work. which meant that a couple of years later, when another telemarketer came knocking on behalf of another accountant, they left because they undercut me. I found the problem was that I was too focused on the marketing tactics instead of getting my strategy right. Most marketing agencies would happily take your money to implement the marketing tactics, but they're not going to challenge you on your strategy. Tactics without strategy is just noise. You need to get your strategy right and then deploy the tactics, which is going to help serve your end strategy. Your strategy is your destination. You need the destination in your sat-nav before getting directions to where you want to go. So I went on a journey of figuring out, right, okay, I started my journey of learning about marketing from the best minds on the planet. I started to consume all the books, the podcasts, went on courses, and there was a consistent theme across all of them to say, get clear on the who. Get clear on who you serve first. That is your strategy. If you don't know who you serve, what kind of client you serve, it's very difficult for you to know what to do in order to reach that potential client. Because ultimately, marketing is simply about finding that person who has a specific need or problem to know, like, and trust you. You can't know what somebody's need or problem is if you don't know who they are. So get the who right, then the what, where, and how to find them will become so much easier. So as I started learning this, and my mentor told me, you need to niche down, you need to specialize. So after a lot of thinking about which niche should I go down, I chose property. And I did what my mentor was telling me to say, create content around addressing the specific problems, questions, needs of your target audience. Because nobody is randomly browsing or looking for an accountant when everything is going hunky-dory. People look for an accountant when they're in pain, when something has gone wrong, when their accountant has dropped the ball. So we need to focus on what is causing that pain and lead with the problems in our content. How do we do that? We create blog posts answering questions. We create ebooks. We create YouTube videos. We create webinars addressing the specific questions, needs, and problems of our audience. When we do that, we get seen as the credible expert, the authority. Now, don't think you're not the expert. I'm not talking about the uncontested expert in the country. When you put out content, immediately you are seen as an expert over and above a generalist. And that's all it takes. You just need to know a little bit more and show that you are a specialist for people to automatically in their minds see you as different and greater than the generalists and want to work with you because people want to work with specialists. So we created a niche, created the content, and that started to generate inquiries. We started to win these kind of fees, which previously would have been completely impossible for us as a generalist. Fees, as you can see here, 29,000, 32,000, 40,000, and that big £135,000 fee that you heard me talk about earlier. This came as a result of getting clear on the who we serve and then creating content to show and case us as the credible experts and the authority in that particular sector. When you're an expert and you're a specialist, you also get paid for initial consultations. Hands up if you offer a free initial consultation. Yeah, we all offer free initial consultations. When you're the expert, you can get paid for initial consultations. We get about £8,000 a year from just initial consultations. Why? Because we've put out content in the world to say, for generalists to consume. They can consume my YouTube content, my ebooks, my book that sells on Amazon. But if they now want specific direction on their specific circumstances, there's a consultation fee involved, and they'll happily pay it. So why now? Why is the opportunity right now to get really clear on the who, on your strategy if you haven't already? First of all, people are a lot more discerning. Secondly, more and more people are going online to find their accountants. Thirdly, there's a huge opportunity since the pandemic for us to take advantage. Massive societal shift took place in the pandemic, which changed our buyers' behavior. What I'm talking about is two major things. Firstly, Zoom calls. People are comfortable having a Zoom conversation with you. You no longer need to be local to your clients or potential clients. That represents a big opportunity. If you let that really sink in, it means that you can now attract business from anywhere in the country. You're no longer limited to your local area or local city, which typically would have been the case for many of us, for many accountants. Get your strategy right, get clear on the who, and you can command business from anywhere in the country. Secondly, people are now comfortable sending information to you electronically. You can service clients from anywhere, you know that. You've got the abstracts, you've got the zeros, you've got the decks, the auto entry all plugging in. You can do bookkeeping for any client anywhere in the country. They can send you stuff electronically. They learned how to do it in the pandemic when they had to. When your offices were closed, what did? They ended up using the apps. Great advantage for us. You can take advantage of this. These societal shifts in buyer behavior represent a huge opportunity for us to attract business from anywhere in the country. We can service those clients efficiently, and you here at the forefront. The big firms, they're slow, they're sluggish, it takes them hard to adapt. You're small, you're nimble, you can absolutely do this. Get your strategy right, and you too can get the kind of fees that you saw. As soon as the pandemic hit, rather than hunkering down, I decided to go crazy and spend thousands of pounds on a Facebook ad campaign to see if my hypothesis sold true. So I started to target property owners from March to November 20. And within 7 months, we had our best ever year and got over £150,000 worth of fees just for going out for those clients, because now I was able to have Zoom conversations with anyone, and they were happy for them to be serviced from an accountant on the other side of the country to them. So how do you take advantage? Get clear on the who you serve. Get industry specific. The more laser focused you get on who you serve, the easier it is for you to find clients. So we went deep into property. I'll talk about how we went deep into a secondary niche for content creators and influencers. You can go deep into doctors, into dentists, into construction, but choose a niche, because once you do, you start to immerse yourself into their world. You start to understand what their questions are, their problems, their challenges are, which then helps you to create the content that they're looking for when they are in need, when they have those problems and pain points. That's when they start looking. Remember, they're not randomly browsing accountants' websites. You laser focus your messaging on talking about those questions they have in their head, about talking about those problems. You lead with the problem, because remember, people only reach out to you when something has gone wrong, going wrong, because they have a problem that needs solving. And then automatically, when you've generated that content and positioned yourself as the expert, you've given value in advance, people want to work with you. They're happy to pay a premium to work with you, because the perceived value of working with you is much greater than someone who doesn't create content or isn't a specialist. And remember this. This talk is all about from surviving to thriving, even in harsh economic climates. You don't do business with the whole economy. We do business with customers one by one. There are customers all around the country who have problems with their accountants, who have money. You just need to find those. Forget about what's going on in the macro economy. We don't deal with the macro economy, we deal with customers one by one. So how do you choose your niche? There's different ways of doing so. The most obvious is by industry. Doctors, dentists, chiropractors, construction, beauty, video game. I have a member who's a video games developer in that niche. Fantastic practice. Over £600,000 worth of fees just from video game developers. The more laser focused you go, the more niche you go, the easier it gets to find the clients. If you're not ready to go industry specific, by stage of life cycle. So could you target startups, but not just regular startups, perhaps seed funded startups? Or could you target those businesses getting ready to exit, if that's kind of your experience and that's what you enjoy, maybe you've got some experience in it. Or by service. This is the least effective way, but you could niche down by R&D claims, capital allowance claims, SEIS claims, virtual FD type services. The more laser focused you go, the easier it will be to find clients. Because if you don't, you're going to end up and drown in the sea of sameness like everybody else. What makes you different from the accountant sitting next to you? Differentiation. You don't need to be better, you just need to be different. Differentiation is about going deep and going narrow and deep into one particular area. Because when you do, when you immerse yourself into one particular area, then you become a lot more efficient as well. The reason why your team are overwhelmed, have too much to do, never have enough capacity is because they're trying to deal with 58 different industries at the same time. They're getting questions about superannuation for dentists and doctors. They're getting questions about reverse charge on construction. They're getting questions about buy-to-let from property investors. Is there any surprise why they're overwhelmed? You don't have enough capacity to take on more clients. When you niche down, they become experts. They have the answers at the top of their mind. They know the answers because they deal with several of them. So what happens? There's a magic twofold benefit. On the one hand, you can charge a premium because you're a specialist. On the other hand, it's a lot more efficient for you to do the work because your team can handle more clients because they know the answers and they get very efficient at doing the work. So what ends up happening? What's that gap? It's your profit. The deeper you go, the harder it is for your competitors to follow. At the moment, when you're a generalist, nothing differentiates you, lots of competition. When you're a specialist, much fewer people who are specialists and therefore less competition. And of course, there's less price pressure when you're the specialist because people want to work with specialists. People aren't going to quibble at your price when you are the specialist because they know that specialists charge a premium. Because when you try and appeal to everyone, you actually appeal to no one. So if you're struggling to win clients at the moment, this is probably why. You want to move away from this bloody red ocean where everyone else is going after the same fish. It becomes very bloody. Swim into the serene blue ocean where you have become the expert. People seek you out, want to work with you. What happens when you do? When you get the who right, the what, where, and how to find your ideal clients becomes so much easier. When I know when I specialize in property, then I go to where property investors hang out. I go to the Facebook groups. I go to the property networking meetings. I share my book with bank managers and solicitors who also have my ideal clients in their portfolio. People find it easier to refer to me when I'm the specialist because now I'm not just another accountant. Bankers, solicitors have lots of accountants who go to them and say, give me business. This makes you different. Giving a book out to say I specialize in property or I specialize in doctors or dentists or construction stands you apart from the generalists and helps you get more work. You charge higher fees, less competition, you become more profitable. We proved this once with the property niche. And then I decided the biggest challenge I heard from my accountant community was how do we win new clients? So as a marketing test, I said that as well as teaching you, I'll do it with you. I'll set up a brand new firm with a brand new name, a brand new logo, a brand new website, a brand new audience, a brand new blog post and lead magnets, and everything I do, I'll share with you in real time. So in the midst of the pandemic in 2021, Capture Accounting was born. And as I'm teaching it month by month, I'm sharing what I was doing. The promise of the course was 0 to 100K in 12 months. So if we didn't get there, we'd been serious egg on my face. Thankfully, we got there in 9 months. But it goes to show that when you get clear on the who, the what, where, and how to find your ideal clients becomes so much easier. It's a proven process. And now we literally get inquiries whilst we sleep. These are pictures of my Calendly invitations showing, you probably can't see the times, but like 5 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 12 a.m. Your prospects are out there looking for solutions all the time. And when you generate content and put content out there in the world that gets found when people are searching for specific answers to their problems, then you too can generate traffic and get inquiries literally whilst you sleep. It's not marketing hyperbole. I'm not some marketing guru promising you something. This is real life. This is what actually happens. And because we are now specialists, we can get higher fees. Our average fees when we weren't specialists, was around £1,000 to £2,000. Now our IJA fees are closer to £10,000. From the last 30 days, increase in total monthly revenue, recurring revenue of nearly £20,000. When you're a specialist, you get better quality referrals because content creators, like our client there, a chap called Mike Thurston, if you're into training at the gym, you might know him. We asked him, do you know any other content creators who might benefit from our service? And he recommended us others. He even went out of his way, we did a deal with him, to name drop us into a video, which has led us to a flood of inquiries because his videos typically get over 1 million views for every video he puts out. When you're a specialist, your content creators know other content creators. Dentists know other dentists. Construction clients know other construction clients. Doctors know other doctors. Accountants know other accountants. Specialist firms grow faster. I run a podcast called the Profitable Accountant Podcast. And from time to time, I interview other accountants doing great things. And what I've noticed over the last couple of years that I've been doing it is that the specialist firms simply go faster. There's a property firm over there who's rapidly growing from 0 to 1 million in 5 years. Another one in e-commerce, Ben Steshka, 0 to 1 million in less than 3 years. Another one, Iconac, Stephen Pell, specializes in the music industry, from 0 to 500 in 5 years. There's another one who specializes in video games developers, rapid growth from 0 to 600 in about 4 or 5 years. Specialist firms grow faster. You're thinking here, well, I'm okay, I get inquiries, I'm getting referrals, I'm doing okay as a generalist. Do I really have to specialize? Well, let's look at what happens when you don't. If you can't see this at the back, I'll read it out for you. Someone posted this in my Facebook group to say, I received an email from an existing client saying the following. I'm not sure what to write back from him. Anyway, they showed this snapshot from someone's website, from one of these online accountants, promising to do accounts for $299 for just $299 a year. Crazy, ridiculous, cheap, isn't it? But the client is asking him, what's the difference between you and these guys? Because he was a generalist, he was being compared to what the prospect or client could get online. When you're not a specialist, this is what happens. So why be something to everybody? When you're a generalist, you do a little bit for everybody. When you can be everything to somebody. When you're a specialist, you're everything to them. People find it hard to leave it. No one is going to leave a specialist for a generalist. But the opposite is not true. People will leave generalists for specialists. And when you don't differentiate, you're competing on price. There's always going to be that price conversation. Oh, but I get it cheaper from this accountant. So you can do this too. Get clear on who you serve. Take advantage of this opportunity to reach clients nationwide. You want to go narrow, you want to go deep. Let's move on to the next insight. What is the big opportunity to earn high 5-digit recurring fees? Let's take a trip down memory lane. 10, 15 years ago, this was the model. You had the data was owned by the client. They had Sage Desktop, they might have had a bookkeeper, or you might have gone in. Essentially, they had control of the numbers. They would then send you the numbers, and you would magic up the accounts and send them their tax bill for the year. There was a disconnect between the data on the client site and what you had, and therefore the value you could add was limited. There was a desperate need that these business owners had. They needed financial acumen and input from someone of your caliber, from an FD, from an FC, from a finance manager. But small businesses up to $1 million, $1.5 million, they simply couldn't afford it. So they just carry on and make do with what they have. Maybe they got a bookkeeper in and tried to get them to do management accounts, which probably wasn't successful, or they got an FD in and got him to do bookkeeping, which is never a good use of their time. Or simply they went out of business because they didn't understand the finances. There was a huge opportunity for us as finance professionals to use the knowledge that we had gained in our training to help business owners, but we simply couldn't do it because we didn't really have the data at our fingertips. That has obviously changed. The cloud software revolution has enabled that to happen. Xero, QuickBooks, real-time access to data now. So what's the big opportunity? To move away from the year-end model, move away from the once-a-year model. That's not where your value lies. Your value does not lie in reporting on history. Nobody cares about what happened 9 months ago. They care about the now. Who owes me what now? Who do I pay? What's my cash flow looking like in the next 3 months? Can I afford to hire somebody else? This is what they care about. The real-time information is where the value is at. We can provide this service now, a lot more cost-effectively than clients having to recruit in-house. That is the big opportunity. So if you're an accountant and you're still relying on year-end work, you need to think about moving away or moving to get more of the bookkeeping type work. And we talk about how you can get high fees from it because it's not low value. That's the high value stuff. The year-end accounts is not high value anymore. I call it the virtual finance office, from bookkeeper to FD and anything in between. Enhanced collaboration, real-time information, real insights that you can actually help business owners with. Everybody talks about advisory, but very few of us actually deliver advisory, the business advisory stuff, and you don't really need to. But if you just got a handle on delivering what I call financial advisory, so I've got 3 stages in my mind as to what we do. The lower end, which is low value and low revenue, is just compliance, just year-end work, do the accounts, see you again next year. Then you move up to Compliance Plus, where you might just be doing VAT and bookkeeping. Then the third level up is what I call financial advisory. This is the finance function stuff. This is where you're an extension of the client. You are their finance team. They can rely on you. They can call upon you when they need you. You're giving them insights, management accounts, cash flow forecasts, help with them to manage that whole finance function, providing peace of mind so they don't have to. That's the financial advisory bit. And that's where the cream of your profits are. If you can get most of your clients onto that, then you'll have a very scalable practice. A highly profitable one too. And then the business advisor will typically only ever be 10% of your clients will ever do that true business advisory, coaching, strategic planning type stuff. And that's fine. You don't want too many of those. I don't, because I don't want to do that kind of work. I want to take myself away from the practice. If we offered business advisor, I'd have to do it. I don't want to do that. Financial advisory, every single person in my team can do it, which means I can take a step back from the practice. I don't have to be there every day. It can run without me. So what's the big opportunity? When you own the numbers, you own the relationship. Deliver that full finance function, virtual finance office service. And move from being low reliance to high reliance. When you just do year end, clients really aren't reliant on you. They're just using you because they've got a compliance obligation to fulfill. When you're managing the finance function, they need you. They're highly reliant upon you. You become an extension of their team. They're not going to get rid of you easily because you're so embedded into everything that they do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You become an obligation rather than a necessity. And you move from low perceived value of just doing each set of accounts because I have to high perceived value that if I need anything, if I need numbers, if I need to know whether I can spend this or spend that, I can go to my accountant, they'll be able to tell me. This is our journey. We adopted Xero back in 2014. We thought we were late to the party. Turns out we weren't laggards after all. 2017, we used to be registered auditors and all the pomp and status that goes with that. 2017, we decided to knock it on the head. It was too much of a ball ache dealing with the scrutiny, finding the staff, the hot, cold file reviews. We knocked it on the head to concentrate more on this opportunity, doing bookkeeping. Bookkeeping is not low value. Within the space, we lost 60,000 fees when we gave up auditing. We had to say goodbye. But we got that back in less than 6 months. If you don't transition, once a year accounting is dying. Year-end work will soon become commoditized. It will pretty much fall out the end of software before long. It's low value in a client's eyes. Like we said, who cares about what happened 9 months ago? And you will either earn less or lose clients to more forward-thinking accountants that are doing this. Thankfully, you're here, so you're going to be one of those forward-thinking accountants. And when you do, you too can get big recurring fees like this. You can see our average fees are over from 11 to 62,000 pounds for clients where we manage the finance function. And this is just with 8-9 people in our team to manage fees of nearly £1 million. And it's not just me and us that are doing this. Many of my members have been using and migrating to this type of model. There's Bev here who recently sold her practice, who used to charge everyone less than £300 a month, started getting fees of £1,200 a year, £1,200 a month, £2,000 a month from this VFO type work. We had Sharon, who went from charging clients £300 a month to getting over £1,000 a month for these clients. We had Sharon, the lovely Sharon in the front row, who's getting fees of £1,800 a month doing this type of work. And Tom here from Ireland, who's also moved to this model and getting recurring fees of £37,000. These are small sole practitioners with a handful of employees. If they can do it, so can you. And the best one of all, Suzanne from up in Lancashire, I think 4 or 5 employees. She got a client for £180,000. How amazing is that? Phenomenal, £180,000 for just doing finance function work for a group of finance businesses, franchise businesses. What difference would it make in your life if you got that kind of fee? Forget that kind of fee, even 10% of that fee, 15, 18, £20,000. What difference would it make to your life, to how much work you have to do for each individual client, to the capacity that you have to resource? You can do this too. You want to move away from once-a-year accounting to real-time accounting, taking on the bookkeeping. Reframe bookkeeping to VFO, Virtual Finance Office, or real-time management reporting. Don't call it bookkeeping because it sounds low value. It's highly valuable. Bookkeeping is everything. You're not just doing bookkeeping, you're managing the entire finance function. We'll undersell ourselves. We need to reframe it, think like a marketer. Oversell it, because it is highly valuable. Okay, moving on to insight number 3. How do we charge higher prices and get better clients wanting to work with us? First of all, I found this out the hard way. I started it, and I was undercutting to win work when I was doing telemarketing. What happened? A couple of years later, somebody else came along, cheaper price, lost the client. People who come to you on price will leave you on price. There are only 2 pricing strategies. It's cost plus and value based. And they fall into, there's 2 pricing strategies, low cost leadership or high value differentiation. Both can work. But low cost leadership means that you set out to be the cheapest in the marketplace from day dot. And everything you do revolves around delivering the service and the product in the most cheapest, efficient way so you can still make a profit. People like Ryanair do this, EasyJet, Dell, Aldi, Lidl. But they set out to be the cheapest in the marketplace. What's the problem with that model? There isn't room for many of those in that marketplace. And there's no strategic benefit to being the second cheapest in the marketplace. So the only option for most of us is high value differentiation. You focus on being different, you focus on adding value. So I'm going to share with you 4 fundamentals of pricing, which you'll also see in my book explained further, to move towards more a value-based pricing approach. And here they are. The first one is price comes from value, not costs. It took a while for this concept to really sink in with me. But when it did, it kind of transforms your thinking. Nobody cares about your costs. Nobody cares how much time you spend. On the way up here, Adam and I, as we were driving up the M3, stopped off at the Fleet Services at the Starbucks drive-thru. As I'm waiting in line to order my cortado, I get to the place where you order, and I'm thinking in my mind, right, the unit cost of the beans is 20 pence. The unit cost of the milk is about 30 pence. The direct cost of the labour associated with making my coffee is about 40 pence. The overhead associated with that coffee is about 20 pence, so I'm only going to pay £1.30 for my cortado. Did I do that? Of course not. Nobody does that. Nobody cares about your costs. Nobody cares about the time you spend when you buy anything. Anything you buy in life, you don't care about how long it's taken the supplier to bring that to you or deliver it to you. You only care what you get. So we need to focus on the value, the result, the outcome, the solution that we are giving clients, and price based on that, because that's what they care about. They don't care about how long it takes you to do anything. In fact, if you can get it to clients quicker, they'll pay you more money. So where does that leave us? Your clients are not price sensitive. They are value sensitive. If your clients buy coffee in Costa or Starbucks, they're not price sensitive. because there are much cheaper ways of getting their coffee fix. Nescafe from Sainsbury's. If your clients have an iPhone or a Samsung, they're not price sensitive. There are much cheaper ways of having a mobile phone. The old Nokias, if they still exist. If your clients drive premium cars like Mercedes, Benz, Audi, Range Rover, they're not price sensitive because there are much cheaper ways of getting from A to B. They are value sensitive. We need to get better at showcasing our value, communicating our value, and then pricing based upon the value as opposed to our time or our costs. It's not the accounts or tax returns your clients are paying for. What they're paying for is the peace of mind that you deliver, the stress you take away, the access to you when they need you to solve their problems. It's the money you help put in your client's pocket through the tax savings or the profit improvement you help them do, or the cash you help them to collect faster. It's the time you help save them, not the time it takes you. But if you say, I can't possibly charge a client £1,000 for a 30-minute job, why not? It took you 20 years to do that job in 30 minutes. They owe you for the years, not the minutes. The second principle is the prestige phenomenon. Running away with me here. Anyway, I'll start talking. The prestige phenomenon is all about your price says something about you. When you're expensive, people automatically see you as quality. Think of the designer brands, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior. You don't walk into Louis Vuitton and haggle them down to the price of a handbag in Primark. Same with watches, cars, etc. Similarly, when you're cheap, automatically people associate you as low quality. Think about when you're searching for something like a phone case on Amazon. You're scrolling through, and they all look much over muchness, but something looks too cheap. You probably say, I'm not going to buy that because there's probably something wrong with it. It might not last me as long. Your price says something about you. Raise your prices, automatically we're seen as better, higher quality, premium. The third principle, the contrast principle. Without comparison, you're either expensive or cheap. If you don't give a contrast or a comparison to your client when you're discussing in the meeting with them, they will have the figure in their minds that they're paying their last accountant. Talk about the value of your solution and reference another number, a much higher number, that they can use to compare your price against. For example, what would be the cost of hiring a full finance team in-house, even if they were part-time? 60, 70,000 pounds? And when your quote comes in for 15 to 20, oh, that's reasonable. That's really good value. We are sensitive to differences rather than absolutes. This is how they do it in this famous steakhouse, Nusrat Steakhouse. They have a $1,000 steak on the menu. It's not really to sell the $1,000 steak. It's to make you buy a burger for $30 and feel like you've had a good deal. So how can you use that contrast principle in pricing? The money you help save, the time you help save, the cost of an alternative solution like hiring in-house, the tax you help save, the amount of profit you're going to generate. You can use options in pricing as well to anchor them to a higher amount so they feel they're getting a good deal. Contrast principle in practice. The power of context, the last fundamental. Where and how something is sold affects how much someone is willing to pay for the same item. Think about a bottle of Coke. Supermarket, how much does it cost? £1.50? Go to Costa or Starbucks, it's about £3. If you go to a hotel, it's about £5. A hot day at a summer festival, £7. We still pay it. It's the same bottle of Coke. But where and how something is sold affects someone's willingness to pay at a higher amount for that same product. To get higher prices, increase your perceived value. What is perceived value? Perceived value, I like to think of value as an iceberg. All the actual value, all the stuff you're going to do, the service, the quality, the turnaround times, that's all below the surface. A client can't feel it, they can't see it until they've started to work with you. So the only thing they have to go on is perceived value. The stuff above the surface. The look and feel of what is it like when I come to your office? What does your website look like? What does your social profile look like? What is my experience when of booking a call with you? Is it seamless? What content do you have? Are you a specialist? When I come to your office, do you serve me coffee in a free mug you got from an accountancy conference? Or do you give it to me in a nice china cup and saucer with a menu attached to it and give me different options? These things matter. Look and feel matters. Increased perceived value, automatically people will be prepared to pay a higher price for what you do. So the pre-meeting phase, we talked about that. In the meeting, communicate the value. And then in the onboarding phase, you can demonstrate value as well so they don't suffer buyer's remorse. We use a brochure to build the value. So we talk about the value of our solution. They can see it's productized. I share this with my members as well. You talk through what is the benefit of a full finance function. What is the cost of them hiring in-house? They can see something tangible. When they can see what benefit they're getting, they can see the perceived value of this offering, they're prepared to pay a higher price for it rather than you just saying, oh, bookkeeping, X £100 a month. You've got to build and communicate that value in advance, get that perceived value up, so when you quote your price, it seems reasonable and good value for money. Show and communicate the value of the whole finance function and what that means to a client in that meeting. Ahmed here, who used the brochure and got fees of over £8,000 for virtual FD work. We've got Rennie, who used the brochures to get fees of over £30,000 a year for providing this virtual finance office service. Aaron here, sole practitioner based in Sheffield, got fees of over £10,000 for providing this service. If they can do it, so can you. You want to focus on value, not time. Increase your prices to reflect your quality, provide contrast to the cost of employing in-house, and increase that perceived value through the look and feel, the experience that a prospect gets before they even come to have a meeting with you. So how many of you are a bit overwhelmed after everything we've covered? A bit too much information, right? So let me ask you a question. If you did what I showed you in insight number 1, got clear on the who, and started and took the advantage of the opportunity to reach clients nationwide, do you think this would work for you? If you repackaged and bookkeeping and started to communicate the value of the offering and contrasted it to what it would cost them to have an in-house finance function in-house, do you think it would work for you? And if you started pricing based upon the value you deliver, do you think this would work for you? I can see a few yeses in the audience. So by all means, take away what I've shown with you. But what if I could help you to implement what you've just learned and get results faster? Would you be interested in me spending just a few minutes to hear how we can do that now? If there's no nods, it's fine. I know all this. I can walk away now. A few more nods? Okay. Okay, then what you need to do. You need to communicate the value of the offering. Increase your perceived value. Get access to those brochures that you saw me talk about. You can get access to these today, valued at over £2,000. So you can use a Canva template, put your logo, your letterhead on it, and start using this word for word, the same ones that we use and my member use. You can start using these from tomorrow. The other thing, and as you can see, Ahmed used the same brochure, got it on his letterhead, and got those high fees. Rennie got the same fees from using the brochure. The other thing I can give you is my pricing system. So you also need a pricing system. If you don't already have a system to price the value, you need a system. Otherwise, you become a pricing bottleneck. Everything is in your head. I'll give you access to all my pricing systems so you can quickly put together yours, which complements the virtual finance office and virtual finance director services that you heard me talk about. As you can see, there are lots of members using these systems to get their first £500 client, big clients. And lastly, I talked about how I set up a brand new accounting firm, Capture Accounting, and took it from 0 to 100K in just 9 months. I could share with you everything that I did, the behind the scenes documentary that was filmed in real time. You got access to all my resources, everything that I was doing in real time. So you can take all those learnings and apply it to choosing your who, choosing your niche, your specialism. So you too can get inquiries whilst you sleep, and it's not difficult to find clients for you ever again. So in total, valued at over £500,000, but you get all this for free because you attended my talk when you join the Profitable Accountants community, which you can do so by going to this link. You can write it down, or if you've filled in the slip, we can email you, rezahuda.com/accountex. You get everything that I've showed you for free when you join the Profitable Accountants community. So when you go to that URL, you'll see this page, pop in your email, and you'll get further details on how you can do that. And if you want a free copy of the book, just hand that slip in to Adam at the end, and he will give you a copy on your way out. Let me leave you with these 3 statements before we finish. Remember, why be something to everybody when you can be everything to somebody? When you own the numbers, you own the relationship, and your clients are not price sensitive, they're value sensitive. Thank you so much for coming along today. I hope you take action. God bless.
Me again. I hope you found that useful and got some tangible takeaways from it. So like I said, there is no way that I can convey everything that I've learned over the last 14 years in a short 30-minute talk. But hopefully you got a feel of the journey that I went through to get from where I was to where I am now, to get my firm to run without me and generate those 50% net profit margins that allows me the time, money, and financial freedom to be able to do what I want to do and spend time with those that I want to. But like I said, it wasn't always easy. I made all the mistakes under the sun. So now I spend my time helping accountants like you to avoid the mistakes that I made, to coach accountants to let them know exactly what they need to do in order to get the results. And I do this through my monthly mentoring program. The way it works, as I said, is that I provide a live coaching to you at least once, if not twice a month, where you get training from me for 90 minutes delivered via Zoom webinar to your laptop, to your home, wherever you are, on one aspect of your practice that you can work on to get the results that took me years and years to figure out for myself. So we cover topics like how to price your services most profitably, how to generate new inquiries for your accounting firm whilst you sleep, how to build a team to attract the best talent to retain your high performers. And on top of that, you get templates, proposals, checklists that I've created in my firm that I give you to avoid you from having to reinvent the wheel so you can implement the stuff straight away that I teach. On top of that, you get access to an amazing community of 100+ accountants, all working together, sharing knowledge, sharing best practices. We have a private WhatsApp group going on. The group meet together at least once a week. So you have these weekly study circles where you can come on, and any problem you have, any challenge you have, any question you have, or even if you just come on board and listen to what others are saying, you get so much value from being in a room of other accountants. It's a safe space. It's lonely being his business, and just hearing from what other accountants are doing, you pick up so much rather than you having to figure out which apps to use, how do you solve this particular problem with this difficult client, how do you increase your prices, what have other people done. It gives you motivation and inspiration to take action to get results. What else do you get in the program? You get access to my vault of online training and resources, which you get access to as soon as you join. And on top of that, I have some very special bonuses for you watching this talk today. And these bonuses won't be around for long, so if you're interested, you need to click below straight away because they'll be gone in the next 24 hours. And they are as follows. Firstly is my very special brochures for delivering virtual finance office and virtual finance director services. Now, these were the services that I talked about that get you those high digit, 5-digit recurring fees that not only I have implemented in my practice, but many of my members that you saw the success stories from, getting fees of anywhere between 10 and 60,000 pounds. I have one member who got a fee of 180,000 pounds for VFO work. Isn't that amazing? Imagine the difference in your life if you got those kind of results. I'm not expecting you to get 180,000, but even if you got a fee of 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 from a client, and then work to make that efficient, this is the way things are going. And I give you those brochures so you can have conversations with clients, you can communicate the value, you can increase your perceived value to get those kind of fees, just like I have done and many of my members have as well. On top of that, the second bonus you get is my pricing structure from the proposal software that I use, which is Go Proposal. So you don't have to figure out how to put your pricing in. You get my template so you can use it. If you don't use Go Proposal, that's fine. I also have a brochure which is for other pricing software like Effective Pricing or Practice Ignition. If you're using those, I have a separate template that you can adopt a 3 pricing approach for. On top of that, another bonus that I can give you is worth over £1,500, access to my Notion templates. It's a great piece of software that I use. We have a company wiki on there. I have many templates that you get access to when you join. On top of that, if you take action today, then I give you a very special discount, 10% off the price which you would pay normally, but you've got to take action in the next 24 hours. So if you're tired of trying to figure things out on your own, or if you've hit a plateau, if you want to know what the most dynamic, forward-thinking accountants are doing, if you want to shortcut your progress to getting the results that you want, take action today, hit the button below and come and join us. And remember, it's completely risk-free. I don't want to take your money if you don't get value. So that is my promise, one accountant to another, that you have my word that if you don't get value in the next 30 days, you can ask for your money back. All you need to do, it's not a difficult process. All you have to do is email support@rezohuda.com between now and the next 30 days and say you're not happy. You can keep the resources that I've given you and you get your money back as well. So what are you waiting for? It's completely risk-free. Come and join us. Come and see what 100 other accountants are getting value out of. I have so many success stories if you want to check those out, but there is no risk for you to take part. So what are you waiting for? If you're not happy with the results that you're getting at the moment, if you're struggling with overwhelm, if you're struggling with managing everything that you have going on, if you're struggling with pricing your services, if you're struggling with trying to find new clients, then you need to take action. Come on board, get access to 14 years worth of learning in one go so you don't make the mistakes that I did and get to your goals a lot faster. So what are you waiting for? Click on the link below and I'll see you on the other side. Take care. Speak to you soon.